Welcome back. Well, there have been warning signs when it comes to the ag economy for months. Crumbling commodity prices, inflation, and higher interest rates are eroding the ag economy at a quicker pace than even what some economists expected. But more signs of trouble happened this week as the largest manufacturer of ag equipment around the globe announced more layoffs. And with no changes in sight, even more fallout from falling net farm income could come in the months ahead.
We've had a pleasant year.
Wading through the sea of soybeans,
Rains have been, for the most part, pretty timely.
Arkansas farmer Becton Bell likes what he sees.
We've irrigated some, but every time we start irrigating, we'll get a rain that kind of stops us, or maybe right after we finish, we'll get a rain. So the irrigation hadn't been as critical this year as it typically is. So we've been pretty fortunate.
Timely rains and only short spurts of heat means growing conditions here in northeast Arkansas this year have been like a greenhouse.
Really almost scary to say this, but almost perfect as far as our timings.
While input costs remain high, one area he's saving on this year is irrigation. Typically, Bell says he has to irrigate corn up to 10 times. Soybeans can require 7 doses of irrigation a year. But even in his rice crop, thanks to this rain, that expense is down.
We've probably irrigated half of what we normally do. So, you know, it could be very easily be a several $100,000 savings to our bottom line.
In a year where every penny counts, that's a relief. But the reality for Bell and other farmers here is marketing this crop is coming at a loss.
It's been the markets, to be honest. I mean, it's just there's hasn't been a good marketing opportunity. It's kind of like catching a falling knife, trying to market soybeans and corn. So that's been the challenge. Nobody wants to catch that falling knife.
Farmers aren't just caught trying to market the crop they're growing today. It's also last year's crop still sitting in the bin.
The big change I think we could see in an update would be actually the 2023 farm income numbers revised lower even from where they were.
University of Missouri ag economist Ben Brown says USDA could revise their 2023 net farm income figure even lower. But as of today, USDA says 2023 net farm income fell 16% compared to 2022. And 2024 net farm income is expected to see a 25.5% drop to $116.1 billion.
At over $90 billion of a drop over a 2-year period, that's certainly the largest dollar value adjusted for inflation that we've seen in the history. It exceeds the previous record set in the mid-1970s.
A record drop in terms of nominal dollars, and as far as percentage changes, those 2 years are in the top 3.
You'd have to go all the way back to the Depression era in the early 1930s to find bigger percentage declines.
Farm financial stress is showing up in liquidity. One ag banker painting that picture for Congress when he testified about the state of the farm economy on Capitol Hill this week.
With rising input costs and lower commodity prices, farmers and ranchers have worked through the liquidity and working capital they built up over the past few years at a more rapid pace than anticipated and are now beginning to leverage equity through refinancing debt. This has made agricultural bankers feel like they are looking over the cliff in regards to the agricultural economy.
As farmers look at ways to weather this storm, they're already cutting back.
Obviously, equipment purchases, everybody's kind of pumping the brakes there and just kind of slowing their reinvestment back into capital improvements, equipment, whatever.
Just this week, John Deere laid off a significant number of salaried employees as part of an ongoing effort of workforce reductions, a move that was brought up during the hearing on Capitol Hill.
John Deere's layoff of thousands of workers is a canary in the coal mine.
On Wednesday, Deere notified Iowa Workforce Development that 103 workers were being laid off immediately, but the full number of salaried workers being let go this week is unknown. Corey Reed, president of John Deere's Worldwide Agriculture and Turf Division for Production and Precision Ag, talking about the layoffs in an exclusive interview with us this week.
But net farm income is expected to be down in the mid to high 20s. And when that happens and commodity prices pull back and interest rates are a little bit higher and we see volatility in the weather and it creates uncertainty that creates some interruptions in demand. And we're experiencing that today. If you looked out across our industry, we're expecting the industry to be off roughly 20% year over year from last year.
The latest Association of Equipment Manufacturers flash report released in June shows combine sales dropped 31% compared to last year, and total farm tractor sales were down 16%. Reed says while the company still forecasts equipment demand to fall 20% overall this year, the second half of the year looks to be even more challenging than the first.
We kind of had the tale of two ends of the year. If you looked at the front half of the year, in fact, if you took the large row crop tractor business, what you would have seen is a market that was still peaking in the April and May timeframe. A lot of buyers in the market based off of the performance last year. As we hit May and going into June, what you saw is those used inventory levels start to and continue to grow. And you saw buyers start to pull back. Those trade differentials look different for them, and they start pulling back at a faster rate.
With the drop in demand, those salaried workforce cuts came this week, but the company already cut more than 1,800 workers in its Iowa and Illinois production facilities. In October of 2021, those same production sites were in the news after 10,000 production workers went on strike. But a month later, John Deere and the United Auto Workers Union reached a new 6-year deal. And with a 20% increase in pay, it ended that month-long strike. But Reed says that the job cuts happening today are not tied to that.
Certainly, cost and availability and reliability of the labor in the workforce is a factor all the time. What we're seeing as cuts right now are not related to that. They're related to demand.
And Reed says as a result, John Deere is turning internally to keep costs down.
We don't like making workforce adjustments. We don't, but that's all about the cost structure we have so we can hold the line on cost. We're deploying more of our engineering resources to cost reduce each part without sacrificing any reliability, durability, or quality. We're doing that in a big way.
Are there any plans to cut the price of equipment considering the constraints that farmers are under?
Well, I'll tell you what we're doing. We're taking some of our latest technologies and we're cutting the upfront price of it. So if you take See and Spray as a great example, that product would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to add to a machine. We lowered the upfront for a retrofit kit to be able to put it on for tens of thousands of dollars. So a customer that wants to manage their herbicide costs differently has the opportunity to buy into that on an acre by acre basis and only pay based on what they save.
Deere also catching backlash for announcing its decision earlier this year to move its cab operations from Waterloo to Mexico, which impacts a couple hundred jobs. In spite of that, Reed says John Deere remains committed to U.S.-based manufacturing.
I think first and foremost it's important to understand that the movement of certain components or products to Mexico is entirely separate from what we've seen in terms of layoffs today. When we move a product, we make the announcement and say this portion of this product is going to move here. And by the way, we're doing that all the time. It's a part of what we do in our global network. What's not reported when we do that, and in the case of that particular line of product, the very product you saw down at Commodity Classic, the 830 horsepower four-wheel drive, if you drove to Waterloo today and went into the operations, what you'd see is that brand new tractor going down the very place in that factory where those cabs were manufactured before.
As Deere aims to align production inventory levels with current market demands, the down cycle of the ag economy is hitting all of agriculture hard. But Reed says he's still bullish agriculture long term.
We have 80,000 employees in the company. Our 80,000 employees wake up every day with the same purpose. That purpose is quality, innovation, integrity, and commitment to our customers. We want to grow value on each and every one of those farms. We want to do it in a way that every day they wake up, every pass they make through the field, they have confidence that they're partnered with someone in the industry, John Deere and our John Deere dealers, that are working to drive value, working to drive profitability on each and every one of their farms.
You can view our full discussion with John Deere on agweb.com, but also during that hearing on the farm economy on Capitol Hill this week, House Agriculture Committee Chairman Glenn G.T. Thompson also pushing lawmakers to get a farm bill passed this year, saying the House version of the bill addresses the challenges facing the farm economy. So he put the onus on the Senate, saying he wants to see legislative text of the Senate version, something that we have yet to see. All right, when we come back, wildfires continue to spread in more than just the U.S. A glimpse at ag around the world is next.